from the Hanging with Web Show TV's Bargain Basement Studio in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, it's Pillow Talk with Willow Schuyler.
Will you take me to Winnipeg?
I will, someday. Toronto, Montreal, Quebec, Winnipeg.
Now what's this guy doing up here in Manitoba?
He was holding the map up.
Every salvage mission that's been through this system has disappeared. Even those old pirates out at Winnipeg Drift say it's cursed.
Cursed. Winnipeg's got a great ballet. Have a good time, I swear to God.
Sweet guinea pig of Winnipeg! They've taken over our company!
Balderdash! I never agreed to that!
I should have stayed in Winnipeg, you know? I had a nice gallery, 3 paintings in the wall.
Are you kidding? And you look back. Born home, Quebec. Drafted out of the juniors in the 5th round to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Played for a year with the Leafs, then traded to the Winnipeg Jets, then to Calgary, then to Boston.
Wow. So Winnipeg must get pretty cold up there.
That's it! Back to Winnipeg!
Hey everyone, this is Willow Schuyler. Welcome to my show. Yes, that is my new intro. I just finished making it earlier today. Finished the finishing touches of it on it. So, yeah, things I do at work when I should be, on my break.
Hey, you're not the only one. It was 4 o'clock in the morning when I did my Kraft mac and cheese Xenonanite Titan post. I just this is hilarious, and so I'm doing it. All the trucks loading. Anytime you get free time to do stuff, it's always fun. You have an idea, and it's I need to do this now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's very much how I am. All right, so everybody seems to like the intro so far. Thank you, Ryan. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys so very much. Hi, Alfred. Good to see you. All right. So, bless you. We're here to talk. We're here to talk about indie comics, and so I want to ask you guys, what was the first comic that got you guys interested in comic books?
Russell, you go first.
So when I was a kid, way back in the day, early '90s, I want to say, I lived in DeSoto, Missouri, and I don't remember really where we got the books, but I got some Indiana Jones comic books. And they were the trades. They weren't actual comic books. They were the trade ones with the regular covers on it. And I read those probably 100,000 times. And then we went to one of the dollar stores, and they had this really cool treasure chest that had 50 comic books in it. It was just random comic books. And it was $5. It was one of those, Five Belows or whatever, but in the 90s. And when everything really was $5 and below. And I was oh, this is really cool. I really want this. So I spent my allowance on it, and I got that. And, I wasn't really totally into them. I really liked those, but we didn't have a comic shop or anything like that when I was a kid that was local to me. And so whenever we moved to Cedar Hill, and I was probably 3rd or 4th grade, I had a teacher that gave us conduct cash. And by that time, I hadn't really messed with comic books a whole lot because, like I said, there was no local stores, and our grocery store didn't carry them. And so we got conduct cash when we did something that was special, or we listened for the day. And at the end of the month, we could spend it on something. She had comic books in there. And I'll never forget it. It was Uncanny X-Men. I was man, this looks so freaking awesome. And so that's how I started getting into the run of X-Men. Every month, I would get another issue of Uncanny X-Men.
Oh, nice.
And it's really funny. So I left off with doing comic books for probably, I want to say 2004, 2005. I quit collecting. And my wife, literally 3 years ago when I got back into comic books, had no idea I had comic books boxed up. I started pulling all these boxes out. I'm look at all these comic books. She's you're such a nerd. Because when I was around when Pokemon came out, I was in I think it was in like junior high, right around when it started coming out. So all my friends played it. You know, D&D was what everybody played when I was younger, and then Pokemon came out, so everybody quit playing D&D, and it's like, let's play Pokemon cards. So I got all that stuff. I'm like, hey, one day, maybe it'll be worth something. I'll hang on to it.
It's amazing how far we've come along with our collections. Like, I'm sure we're both about the same age. I remember Pogs being a huge thing.
Oh man, I freaking loved Pogs. Like I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Silver Dollar City in Branson. But it's in Branson, Missouri. It's like a huge place. Branson's like where all the stars are, Dolly Parton and all that stuff. And so they have this, it's kind of like Six Flags or Universal Studios or Walt Disney World. They got roller coaster rides and stuff. And I was huge into Pogs. Like, that was around 3rd or 4th grade when they came out. Pogs came out. I had thousands of them. And I had all these cool thumpers. And we went to Silver Dollar City in Branson, and legitimately the amusement park had a Pog tournament. And it was awesome because I remember I won it, and I won all these cool like Pogs that I'd never seen before. Man, that was such a fun thing.
That's awesome.
I forgot all about Pogs. It's
I'm all about bringing back the nostalgia of life. But yeah, the first comic book I remember reading was my mom got a whole bunch of stuff from a garage sale, and she, kind of threw me a comic book, and it had Sheena on it, and that was pretty much it for me. Like, as soon as I cracked open that comic book, it was worn and torn, and I'm just like, I like this. I like the art. And and then of course it led to the Archie comics and Sonic the Hedgehog, and so more Marvel. How about you, Heather?
I actually come from a different background. I've always had a love of art, and huge love of art. My mom would always take us to the Met in New York and the Guggenheim, and my dad could paint pretty well and was a photographer. But I actually ended up in this industry because my ex was a comic book lover, and we started the business after I was in a bad car accident, and I couldn't drive. And it was one of those things like, okay, let's do it. And we had fun sorting through comics and finding it. And he was looking for things that he recognized. I was looking at the covers and the art. I'm going, we're getting this. And he's like, I don't know that. I'm like, I don't care. I like the cover. I like the way it looks. I like the style. And I have a background in business. So I've just been using my knowledge from previous jobs and my other industry to see how I can help kind of push some of the indies. I've been loving everyone I've been meeting. It's awesome that my Facebook feed is filled with art and comics and awesome people and Kickstarters and everyone promoting each other. And that's kind of how I got here. I have to sit down and figure out a way that I can multitask, where I can read a comic and still work. I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but I love the artwork and I love the people that I've been meeting. I mean, everybody is really awesome and so supportive. So that's how I'm here. That's how I ended up here. I've been the sole owner of the business since August, and made some changes and have a lot more plans coming.
You know what? I completely agree with this statement. You have been very, very supportive in helping the indie scene, and you guys, like ever since I, found Brian K. Morris and got into like his little community of friends with artists and writers and all that. That whole community of sharing each other's work, promoting each other, it's so empowering. And Heather, you do an amazing job with promoting people on your page. Russell, I'm happy to promote you and your Kickstarter. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So I guess I'll go back about 3 years ago. I started Art Exposure. I wanted to let me turn the brightness down on this so I don't look like I'm glowing. So I started Art Exposure. I wanted to help get indie artists out there. I'm like, there's a lot of great talent. I had gotten commissions done, And I'm like, I was throwing these commissions out to people and like, oh, who is that? And I'm like, we need to fix this. There's so many good artists out there that do phenomenal work, and everybody uses the mainstream artists. And I wanted to help promote them. So I'm like, hey, let's get on and do a show and show your work off and do like a live draw or whatever. And I had one person do it, and then everybody's like pretty much, nah, I don't want to do it because they're busy with cons, they're busy doing commissions and doing stuff, and they just didn't feel like people would want to get on and talk to them, And then COVID happened, so it was the other way around. They're like, hey, can I be on here and show off my stuff? So 10 years ago, I wrote a book, and I asked for a Chromebook. But when I was in 3rd and 4th grade, I liked to write. I used to color pictures in school, and the teacher would be like, write a story about this. So I wanted to do writing, but everybody kind of shot me down with it. And like, oh, you don't want to do that. You need a real job, do something that a real grown-up would do and have a family and, have a house and yada, 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 the whole 9 yards, the same spiel everybody gets. It's a hobby. It's not a job. So, I guess it was about 10 years ago. It was like 2010. I was working at a job that I stayed over the road one night a week, and I told my wife, she's like, what do you want for your birthday? I was like, I really want a Chromebook, that one night I spend out of town, I could spend it writing and doing what I want to do. I want to try to do this book on the side. So with work and everything like that, I worked on it once or twice a week, and I amassed like a 900-page book that was almost finished by 2015. Well, I was finishing writing it, and we found out our son had to have open heart surgery. So I was like, oh, I'll take it to the hospital. I'll finish it. Give me something to do, take my mind off of things. And it never really worked out. It was open heart surgery, cardiac cath, open heart surgery. Then we had another kid. And, and so this whole time, you have kids, you don't have time for yourself enough then.
Yeah.
I didn't have time for it. And, with having him in the hospital and stuff. So I put it down. I was like, I don't really have time for this. I really want to do it, but I can't. So fast forward, to January this year, I've had a pain in my side. I went to the hospital, and I'm like, something's wrong. So they found a hemangioma on my liver. At that time, they didn't know it was a hemangioma, but they found a mass. And so they sent me for an MRI. And they're like, oh, it's a hemangioma. It's just a blood vessel tumor. It's no big deal. But, how that thing where you sneeze and you went blind while you were driving down the road? We found a 3 by 5 centimeter mass on your spine. So at the end of January, they did a PET scan, and they was like, oh, it's significant evidence of malignancy. And then they're like, we don't want to do a biopsy because it's so close to your spine. It's so close to your lung. We don't want it to metastasize. We don't want to paralyze you. So we're going to hold off on the biopsy. We'll wait until, mid-March, and we'll do another CT scan and see how the size has progressed. So this whole time I'm like, significant evidence of malignancy. What's my contingency plan? What if this is cancer? What if something happens to me? I have 2 kids. My son's got heart issues that he's going to have open heart surgeries for the rest of his life. What do I regret doing most? I start making up a bucket list of things that I want to do, and I'd pretty much done everything that I wanted to do except for do this book. So February, I started Rust Explode Studios. I bought a website, designed Xenonanite.com, and I just started rolling with it. And about March, when I was probably a week before I was supposed to go in for the CT scan about the mass on my spine, I went back to work. I'd been out January and February, and like the first week of March, I go back to work, and the 3rd day on my way home, I get hit by somebody that ran a red light, and they did like $19,000 worth of damage to my car. So it wasn't like a little accident. It was pretty major, but I didn't get hurt too bad. It banged up my wrist, so it put off the book for a little bit. But the bad thing about that is they did the CT scan when I had the car wreck, and they're like, oh, the mass is the same size, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And then they shut down, like, right after that. So I didn't get back until June. So this whole time I'm writing this book, I'm like, I'm getting worse. I'm having really bad pain. And, all the doctors are closed. There's nothing I can do about it. So I'm like, I'm cranking this book out. I went and I got, started talking to artists. I'm like, hey, this is my idea for a book. And they're like, I really love this idea. It's great. What kind of piece do you want me to do? So, I sent each of them, a section of the book, and I'm like, this is what I want you to do your piece on. This is the base art of what the character looks like. I want your, how you perceive the character based on my words. And I want you to do it in your style. I don't want everybody's art to look the same. That's boring. So, I pushed through. And I'm like, I'm doing this. This is one thing I've always wanted to do. I'm doing it. I love the story. I'm invested in it. I think it's great. It's definitely, you're not going to see what's coming. It's got lots of twists and turns in it. And I put a lot of heart and a lot of love into this. I mean, this is a labor of love that I am proud. I can hand this book to somebody when it's printed, and I'd be proud to say, this book is badass. You're going to love it. I guarantee it. I have no problem saying that. And so I did find out 6 weeks ago, maybe 7 weeks ago now. Times kind of flew the last 2 months with putting the Kickstarter and stuff together, that I don't have cancer. Thank God for that.
Which is good.
And I do have 11 blown discs, or bulging discs in my back, and 2 blown. That's what I went for Wednesday. I had injections. They went into the front of my neck again, and they didn't work too well this time. But I'm getting better. They put me on medication to try to help ease the nerve pain that I have in my arm. I mean, that was a lot of the issue too, trying to write a book. You got all this stuff going on in your back, and the whole time you're thinking it's this mass, and really all my discs are screwed up. And so I'm trying to sit here and type, and you can notice it in some of my live shows earlier in the year. I'm like sitting here, I'm like, trying to interview people. But that was the fun part of doing all this is, I got with Wendy and I got with Ed, and I'm like, hey, you did a piece for the book. I really want to put you out there. You do awesome work. I really love what you do. Going back to the art exposure thing 3 years ago. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll go live with you. Yeah, cool. So I went live, and then, it was like 2 or 3 shows, and I had some of my other artist friends like, hey, when are you going to have me on your show? And I'm like, well, I was only doing this, to promote the artists that were doing pieces for your book, but I don't have a problem. Come on. And I started out doing Tuesdays only, and now it's been Sunday and Tuesday pretty much every week, unless, we've got something major going on with the family or something. And I love doing it. I love, my whole thing is you go to cons and you talk to people. You don't really get time to sit down and know who they are. It's like, here's the book that I love that you did. They sign it. They say, thanks a lot for buying my stuff. And it's on to the next person. Mm-hmm. Like on here, you really get to, see who the person is that you're buying a book from.
Yes.
See who the person is that you're buying the art from. Get to know them. Get to know what they like. Get to know their story. And so I don't really have like a show where I get on and I'm like, hey, let's talk about, your book. We talk a little bit about it, but I mainly do it as, turn over to what was your inspiration? Everybody's got an inspirational story. My story is life got in the way, but, finding out that I had cancer is what pushed me to say, I'm going to do this because I want to. And this is the thing that I want to do. And now I don't have cancer, and I finished my project. And it was like a kick in the ass to say, you should have done this a long time ago. And I'm kind of glad that it happened. I'm not glad that they didn't figure out the stuff was wrong a long time ago, but, in the end, something good came out of it. And that's what I try to look at,
Yeah.
2020's been hell for everybody. Not just
a little bit.
Everybody's got a bad story. And so I want my show to be something at the end of the day, people are cracking jokes and I'm putting the comments up on the screen and, we have a good time. We derail. We totally end up spending 45 minutes, not even talking about Kickstarters. We get on movies, talk about exploding blue balls, rating system. Yeah. I mean, I like
sounds like my kind of show.
Oh yeah, well,
that's awesome.
That's the new review show. So Saturdays I'm doing it's blue balls reviews. So we had this story when Wendy and Christina, we had this Sunday show, and it was off the chain. It was hilarious. We had like 20-something people in there, and I mean the comments were flying. We were telling all kinds of crazy stories. And I tell the story about how we did a fireworks show, because I used to work, with pyrotechnics and stuff like that. Russ Explode Studios, I love to blow shit up. I mean, let's just be honest. So, we started talking about this pyrotechnic show that we put off where the tubes explode and they laid out. And these exploding blue mortars just start blowing up in the field, and there's cows running for their life. So the next day, Danny D posts like these cow balls on an electric fence. And he's like, hey, here's some exploding blue balls. Well, then Christina takes the picture and puts a glowing blue glow around it and posts it. She's like, there it is. Now it's the exploding blue balls. So, Heather mentioned a week ago that, she was going to have people start doing book reviews. And I'm like, I got it. I'll do book reviews for you too. I'm like, we can totally work this out. I'll get on there. We'll call it Blue Balls Reviews. My studio name will be Harry Sack. And so I get on and I got this huge fro on. And
awesome. It's really awesome.
You know, I like to be serious. You know, we seriously talk about the books, but I want to have fun. I mean, everybody works all day. They come home. They don't want to listen to somebody yarn on about, well, I wrote this book and I got this character. I'm like, let's have fun. Let's talk about blowing shit up. Let's talk about exploding blue balls, you know, whatever. And so the show was a lot of fun. I mean, people were coming in and they're like, you know, this can't be for real. And it's like, no, it's for real. This is me. I like to have a fun. I like to, you know, tell stories and have a great time. And, you know, if you enjoy my show, I'm sure you're going to enjoy the book too.
Yeah. Well, it's a different take on reviews. Instead of it, you know, everybody has their different views and different takes on it. It gives a little bit more fun. So I do have some other people going to be doing reviews. And I can tell you they're not going to be like Russell's. They'll be very different. So all of his will also be running on the Comics and More YouTube and on the page.
Excellent.
So it's very cool.
5 exploding blue balls.
Exactly.
So, speaking of derailing, well, hi, Brian, first of all. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. I'm not as good as keeping up with the chat as you are, but I'll do my best. So, yes, we have Jack Napier. Hello.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, Jack. What's going on, buddy?
Hi, Brian.
Brian.
Yeah, hey, Brian. Thanks for joining us tonight. I lost the comments because my computer crashed, so I'm just like sitting here going, what the heck happened?
Oh, no.
We have Joshua.
Hey, Josh, what's going on, buddy?
How's the packing going?
Yeah.
Joshua's packing up a lot of packages for the military for holidays overseas. He's been packing.
And then we have
Hi, Brian.
Reels and Heels.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Brian K. Morris with Russell has an amazing story of removes excuses, can't create because you have to watch TV all night. You know what? It's funny, like a year ago, I was humming and hawing about doing my podcast and trying to figure out who to interview. And it never came to fruition up until the pandemic happened, and I'm like, I'm bored out of my mind. Starbucks is closed. What do I do? So, hopped on the internet.
Yeah, and I love Brian's show. You know, Brian, I found out about him from a friend that. So it's kind of funny how you get run into these circles. So I buy from a shop in Pennsylvania called Hooked on Comics. You know, I just happened to stumble across these people online one day, and that's when I brought out all my boxes of comics like 3 years ago. And my wife's like, wow, you were a super mega nerd. I had no idea you had comic books. I'm like, we've been together since 2004. You know, we've been married for 8 years, and we've been together for 16. And like, all of a sudden at 13 years of being together, she's like, you have comic books? And so, you know, I came across them, and they had the Punisher, which is one of the big characters that I like. Vampirella was one of the other big ones. You know, one of the first big books that I found that I really loved was Vengeance of Vampirella, #1, the red foil. And I'm like, I love this book. And that's, you know, got me starting to collect those. But one of my friends, I was talking on there, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to write this book. You know, I'm thinking about, you know, getting it together. And he's like, get a hold of Brian K. Morris. He'll help you out. And I'm like, okay. So that's when I messaged Brian about, you know, how do I go about finding a printer? How do I go about, you know, getting my book edited, you know, stuff like that. And he helped me out with all this information. And, you know, I ended up adding him as a friend.
I love that comment.
And so, and it's awesome because then I found out Nevermind the Furthermore, and I found out about Clever Title Pending, and, you know, we've become really good friends since then. And, you know, Brian really made my day a few months ago. Before this whole thing, I found out that I didn't have cancer. I was having a horrible day because they weren't giving me anything for the pain. And I was literally, like, at my last stop of the day, and I'm like, I just don't think I can do it anymore. You know, if I wake up feeling like this tomorrow, I'm just done with it. And, you know, we had a show on Saturday for an Indy event. Well, I had sent Brian, you know, the book pre-edited. It's an advanced copy. I mean, it's not going to change a whole lot. There's going to be a few sentence changes, maybe some commas are in the wrong place, stuff like that. But the story's pretty much the same. And he's like, oh, I got other things that I'm working on. He's like, I'll read a little bit of it so we can talk about it on the show, and, you know, I'll see what I think. You know, so I'm having this bad day, you know, 3 days later, and I get a message from Brian. He's like, by the way, man, I finished your book and I love it. And so he didn't have to say anything other than that. The fact that he took the time to finish the book, he was like, he said, I'm just going to glance at it. He finished the book and he's like, I love it. You know, he's like, it was really good. I was really surprised by it. And he's like, I love it. You know, keep doing it. You're going to go places if you keep going with this. And it really made my day. And that's what I love about Brian. Brian's a super swell guy. He's down to earth. He'll tell you the truth about stuff. And I know he wasn't just telling me that to get me tickled pink. He genuinely meant it, and that meant the world to me. Yeah. And that's when I'm like, we're doing this all the way. We're putting it on Kickstarter. We're launching it. We're going to get the first print run printed and get this bad boy out there, and everybody's going to be sorry that they missed out on it.
Speaking of your Kickstarter, I apologize. The funds are in Canadian, so I'm not sure what the conversion is for American money, but you're doing pretty well. So congratulations.
Thank you.
How long until your Kickstarter is over?
It's 27 days. It ends on the 17th of December, I believe.
Okay. And what are the different tiers for backing?
So the different tiers for backing. So I do have a $10 tier. It is in US it's 10. I don't know what the conversion is either. So the regular package just for the digital is $10. There's, of course, the pledge without a reward that I put on there for important nanite research, or, my Stuff Pool cosplay, or, Xenonanite Titan cosplay, whatever, just do something funny. And then the next step up is the $40 tier, and that includes the digital copy of the book and the hardcover copy of the book. Because, one of the things that I did, I went big. I spent a ton of money on art and got some awesome pieces done, because I'm like, if something happens to me, this is going to be badass. I'm going to leave behind something that I'm going to be proud of, and that people are going to be like, wow, this kicks ass. And, hope that one day my kid goes, hey, my dad started this book, I want to finish it, and him finish the series in the way that he wanted to, or something, is what I had in my mind. I mean, when you're going through stuff, you get some stupid ideas in your head, that things are going south. And I'm not going to be afraid to admit I was severely depressed. There was a lot of days that I came home and I'm like, I'm going to try to write a chapter of this book, and I just couldn't do it, because when you have to be in the right mindset to write the mood that you're writing, or it's complete crap. So, I spent a ton of money on art, so I really want to show it off. I didn't do a soft cover for the Kickstarter, because, I feel if you're going to spend the money on the Kickstarter, the soft cover is not going to be much cheaper. You're talking like $5, $6, $7 cheaper for printing. And I'm like, we're going to make this awesome. If people are going to believe in me, if people are going to back me, we're going to do a special edition. Only time it's ever going to be printed. It's a hardcover book. Yeah, it's $5 or $6 more than a soft cover, but you're getting something that no one else is ever going to get again. And this is a badass book. It's got badass art. The freaking artist killed it. You got Wendy Steenshiner, David Fott, David Harrigan, Alfred Trujillo, Doobie-Doo. And then you've got Ed Williams, you've got Finney the Great, Chris McJunkin, Jason So. Phenomenal team. Even Revis Fournier, CB Zane, they all did a phenomenal job. And it's like CB, I gave him a choice. I was like, do you want to do this piece at the end of the book, or do you want to do this battle scene? And he's like, I want to do this piece. And I liked giving them the choice, because, artists have to feel the mood for the book that they want to do. It's like if I would have gave them the fighting scene, it may not have transpired as good as, the piece that David Harrigan did, and if David Harrigan did the emotional piece, it may not have come out as good as C.B. Zane did. So, I gave him a choice. I was like, these are the final two pieces. What do you feel comfortable with? And he killed it, man. C.B. Zane did the final piece in the book. They all killed it. Steph Wilson, every one of them is awesome in its own right. They did different armor, different takes on the character. Each piece has Easter eggs in it for the book. You're going to look at the art and go, that's really weird. Why is that like that? Then you're going to read the book and you're going to go, oh, it makes sense now. Yeah. So, and there's a lot of spoilers in the art. You're not going to know it, because the artist did a phenomenal job of adding the stuff in that I asked him to without giving away too much information. And so, I was like, we're going to do a hardcover book. We're going to show off the art, because, I'm not the only one that did work on the book. I inspired the artist, and the artist inspired me to do more. So I wanted to make sure that I showed their art in full glory. So we did the $40 hardcover, and then the next tier up, I did an art book. So I wasn't going to do the art book. I was going to do the art book, and then I had, mixed emotions. Some people are like, yeah, I want an art book because I want to see what you originally seen the character as, and then how it got to here. And I'm like, all right, And so I had conflicted emotions about an art book, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do it. That's the nice thing about being an indie creator. It's my character, it's my book. It may not be what people think is going to work, but I'm going to do an art book. I'm going to include my rough sketches, my stick figure doodles, however so embarrassing they are. And I'm going to include the artist stuff. Here's the pencils that the artist did. Here's the inks that the artist did. And then here's the color picture. So you're going to get to see with some of the art that I have it from start to finish, like Chris McJunkin, and some of the other ones I have from pencils to inks to color. Alfred Trujillo, even then, with it being digital, I have the pencils to the inks to the colors. And so you're going to get all of that in the art book. It's not going to just be like, oh, here's the 10 pieces out of the book. It's going to be, here's CB Zane. Here's CB Zane's piece. CB Zane does Into the Suck. CB Zane does Scorpiana. CB Zane just did spin-off comics with the Mighty Might. I don't want to just throw art in a book and call it an art book and just to sell something. I'm putting work into it because I respect all the artists that did the work for the book.
Yeah.
And I want to give them an opportunity to have other clients, for other people to get to know who they are. I mean, yeah, somebody may look at the book and go, whoa, Naughty Fairy Stripper Assassins? That sounds freaking awesome. I want to know what that's all about. And they're going to contact Wendy and be like, hey, I got this art book from Xenonanite Titan, and it says you do Naughty Fairy Strippers Assassins. Show me something out of it, just same way that we meet people in our circles.
Just FYI, I would totally read a comic book of that.
Well, I love seeing the start to finish. Like when you have your concept and then it goes to the artist's sketch and all the steps to the final. I love seeing that progress. I love trying to get an idea when they look at one thing and how they take the concept and actually create it. And then the adjustments, I like seeing the process. And I know I'm not alone in that. A lot of people love to see the different processes.
I am too, and that's why when somebody brought up the idea that they wanted to see my rough sketches, however stupid that may sound, because I'm going to tell you some of them are pretty stick figure-y. But so one of the creatures, I'll every time I'm on a show, I'm spoiling something different from the book. So I've talked about Wyvernite. I never released the name of the dragon that's in the art that even at Revis Fournier did. That's on the Kickstarter. That's Wyvernite. That's a creature that appears in the book about midway. He fights the Septibrood. And the Septibrood's the 7-armed creature that you see in Armando Ramirez's piece. It's also the creature that you see in David Harrigan's piece. They're both totally different. They both imagine something different from reading the part of the book that I sent them that contained that character. And my art that I sent them is way different. I have that piece, and that's one of the pieces I'm really proud of, the Septibrood. It looks pretty kick-ass, but it's what I love. I love seeing where an idea starts and where it ends, because it's never the same. And so when somebody said, I want to see your roughs, I want to see the artist's roughs, and then I want to see the finished project, I'm like, I can't be the only one. This person likes it too. Somebody else said something, then somebody else said something. I'm like, sure, we're doing the art book. If it doesn't do good, it doesn't do good. If it does good and people are happy with it, awesome. I'm not doing it to make money. I'm doing it because that's what I would want, and that's what other people are wanting. So I'm giving them the option. So if you want the art book and the hardcover book tier is $90. Every tier, no matter which one you buy, except for the digital, I just did $15 shipping, just because I'm going to ship everything priority, insured. You're not going to be getting your stuff medium mail. Then there's the add-ons. So I did the add-ons for each piece of art from the book, except for the ones that are for the stretch goals, because I have Pete Vasquez did a piece for the metal bookmark. April Grady Reyna did a piece for me that is going to be a metal trading card. And so the other pieces, you can get a metal print. They're all going to be limited to 10. If they don't sell, if they do sell, if we sell 6 of them, you're going to have one of 6, So I do have add-on capability. You can do add-ons in there.
Nice.
But here's the thing. They're all $0 shipping. Whatever you add on, if you add on You want 50 prints of something? If it cost me $30 to ship it, oh well, you know. I'm doing flat rate 15 for everything just so everybody gets their stuff priority shipped. Everything is done. That's the other thing I want to let everybody know. Everything is done. The book is done. I've got the edited version back. I'm working on it. The art is all done. I have it. It's in hand. I should have brought it upstairs to me and showed off the killer pieces. Everything is done. This project's ready to rock. You guys fund this, and we get this going. The book's going to the printer. I know it says April 2021. Here's the thing. This year, as stupid as it's been, we have no idea what's going to happen. This could fund, and then the next week we have another 2 or 3 week shutdown. And the last thing I want is to say, hey, everything's done. This book's going to be printed and shipped to you right away. And then the printer shut down, and I got to get on and be like, I'm really sorry, but the printer that I was going to use is shut down. And they said it's going to be like another month and a half before I get the book. So the worst thing I want is for somebody to be excited about the book and then get disappointed. So I'm planning on April. So if you look at the April 2021, it's probably not going to take that long. But we don't know how this year is going to end. And then the other thing is the stretch goals. So at $6,000, we unlock the CB4K tier for the shirt that Steph Wilson and Carrie Ann did. It's a phenomenal piece. It's something I'm very passionate about. It's Comic Books for Kids, CB4K.org. They are an organization that donates comic books to hospitals, hospitals, cancer centers, stuff like that. Donating books, sending them to hospitals, to kids, to help them take their mind off the stuff that's going on. And a lot of them never get to go home. So this is something that gives them happiness, and I'm all for it. With my son having open heart surgeries, as a parent, I can vouch for the fact that those are the best programs out there that can do stuff for parents that have kids.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, it's not just good for the kids, it's good for the parents. I don't mean to derail talking about CB4K, but I'm passionate about it, and I really am. So when Roderick has open heart surgeries, it's 11 or 12 hours. It starts at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And the first one that he had at a week old, I think it ended at 3 o'clock. And then they got a phone call in this little bitty room the size of a telephone booth that we've been sitting in for 12 hours. And we get a phone call, and they're like, hey, we got to open him back up. There's a leak. So they didn't finally finish him until 6 o'clock that evening. We finally get to go in there into the room. And he's 2.5 years old, and they take him off the sedative the following morning. So we're still wore out because we didn't sleep all night, because they're coming in and out, checking everything, making sure they're draining all the fluid off of his heart, all this stuff going on. And so, the next day they take him off the sedatives. He's won't sit still. He hurts. No matter what they give him, he still feels the pain. He doesn't understand. He's 2.5. And we don't know what to do for him. We're wore out from the day before, and we just are out of our mind. And here comes the nurse walking in with a $1 toy from Dollar Tree, or a coloring book from the dollar store, or stuff like that. And it's not just good for the kids. It gives them 20, 30 minutes to take their mind off the pain, because, hey, here's something cool. Here's something new. I want to read it. This is really awesome. And it takes their mind off of it. But here's the best part. It's great for the parents, too, because we get 20 or 30 minutes that we can be there for each other. I can be there for my wife and comfort her, and talk to her about what she's worried about or what's going on with her. It gives us a chance to decompress for the day too. So I set that for the $6,000 stretch goal, because that's what the fun goal is. That's for me to print the book and the art book. That's the minimum, and then I added in Stripe takes the 3 to 5, Kickstarter takes the 3 to 5. Then you got to pay taxes on the Kickstarter. So I factored all this stuff into it, and I'm like, all right, once we hit 6,000, you can buy the shirt, so it doesn't affect the print run of the books. Officially, unofficially, you were supporting CB4K. Don't tell anybody. So, yeah, we lost Heather for a second.
She'll be back.
So, and then you got the bookmark, you've got the trading card, but the big stretch goal that's going to be really fun is I'm going to do, I think it's the $9,000 stretch goal, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I can look. I got it right in front of me. I'm having a brain fart day.
You know what? It's okay. I am the queen of brain farts. Earlier today, working drive-through, I'm trying to take an order from for a customer, and if I'm away from the computer, I have a memory of a goldfish. I swear. As soon as you put on more than 2 orders in your order, I'm just like, wait.
Wait, what am I doing here?
I'm not
So
gonna
yeah,
remember this.
So it's $9,000 goal. So if we hit $9,000, I'm gonna go and get the signatures from the artist. You know, that's another reason why I set the April goal. If we do hit the signature stretch goal, I've got to go get the signatures and stuff. We don't know how the shutdown is going to work, you know. So I'm trying to factor into time for the people that, you know, are going to be wanting the signatures. $25 is for all of them. The only reason I'm charging the $25 is just because travel, hotel, you know, and stuff like that. Because David Faught lives 2 hours from me. I can drive to his house and be like, "What's up, dude? Sign these books." No big deal. But then I got to go from there to California. You got Wendy, and then down to Arizona and all, you know, and then over to Florida, and then up to New Jersey and North Carolina. So, but I'm excited about it. You know how much fun that's going to be? You think, oh my gosh, it'd be awesome to be able to hug Wendy and be like, oh my God, we did it. The book's printed. Or I can't wait for people to get it and hear all about how awesome it is and get to talk about it. And finally get to talk about spoilers because people are going to know what happens in the book. It's so hard to tiptoe around and not ruin stuff. And so I'm really excited about it. It's going to be fun. I want to go live and be like, hey, we're at Wendy Steenstrader's house. Here's your books getting signed. You know, it's going to be interactive. People are going to get to see their books getting signed and know legitimately that I'm not just like writing people's names in the book. Like, we're going to do it live. We're going to go on. We're going to talk about it. We're going to thank everybody and tell them how awesome they are because, you know, this is a big deal. This is a dream. This is a 10-year dream. This is a 10-year labor of love. And I'm not going to lie, you know, and I told Wendy and I told everybody that on Tuesday when I launched the book. I cried all day. And I'm not afraid to admit it. But you guys got to understand, this was a big moment. I didn't ever think I was going to reach the day that I was going to be able to push the live button. And so it was really an emotional day. It's like, I can't believe I made it. I can't believe the book is done. It wasn't tears of sadness. It wasn't like I was like, oh, boo-hoo. You know, I was overjoyed. And it's just like, you know, I'm going to be okay. The book is done. The book's freaking awesome. I'm going to put it out in the world. I'm going to finally do it. And so, you know, this is a big deal. And so I want to make it a big deal for everybody else. I want to get you guys those signatures. Cons are going to be shut down for a long time. There's 13 artists that did pieces in the book. Imagine trying to chase them down over, you know, several years to get all your pieces in the book signed. And so at the $9,000 stretch goal, that $25 is one time. If you bought 10 copies, so like another add-on, I dropped the price of the hardback. If you wanted an extra copy to gift to somebody or whatever, the add-on for the hardback, it's $35 instead of $40. I'm not making anything off the book. It's pretty much you're getting the book flat rate out the door to gift to somebody. That's an option. Or if you wanted to get 2 books because you want one signed and you don't want one signed, you know, I wanted to give people options to do stuff. So you can buy an extra art book. I didn't drop the price on that just because it's going to be 8.5 by 11. It's going to be bigger size. There's really not a lot of wiggle room on that, unfortunately. That was just more over something I wanted to do for people because they wanted it. But it's a flat rate. If you buy 50 books, there's also the retailer packages I did. I dropped the price of the book down to like barely, you know, I'm not making anything. I'm just trying to help fund the book for everybody so they can get it that wants to read it. So, you know, the $25, like I said, if you buy 100 books, it's just $25. You're not going to pay, you know, $2,500 to get all of them signed. It's just going to be a way to help me, you know, factor in the cost of travel, going and getting these signatures and going on this road trip. And it'll be a lot of fun because I'll finally get to meet a lot of these people that I've been chatting with forever online, but I've never met in person.
See, the great thing about the internet is that we're all figuring out how to support the indie comics industry, and if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be entertained. But you know, and what also is very important is supporting your local comic book industry people. I know that Winnipeg is really bad when it comes to supporting their local comic book industry people. I don't know if it's the same in where you guys live, but that's why I created the show, is to make sure that, you know, those people who need the promotion gets the promotion. So I'm happy to have you, Russell and Heather, on my show. You guys are amazing. Heather, you do an amazing job promoting people as well. Tell me more about Comics and More.
So Comics and More New Jersey is the online store, which I'm not really great at sales, so it's there. Comics and More Chaos, I started in October. I had a lot going on in my life, and in September I took a look at the business and things I wanted to change. And I come from a different background. I had an online publication, which is now on hiatus, in a different industry. But a big part of what I did there was connecting people together, networking, helping them promote. I wrote articles. It was a publication. So instead of going into writing the articles and doing another publication, I wanted to start this group that had very few rules. So another store can post a sale. They don't have to think about it if it's okay. If you have a Kickstarter, you have artwork, you just want to show off, you bought books and you just want to give a shout out to the books you got, as long as it's in the comic world. If it is comics, art, anything creative, cons, cosplay, I want to see the creativity. I want to see people being able to support each other, share their love for all of it. We can't go to the cons right now. There's not many going on. So this is a way to interact. And I've noticed a lot of the artists never really had to deal with online social media. They went to the cons. They drew, they threw up their picture and had their name out there, but they did all of their networking in person. So this is a new world for them. And trying to teach them, share your work. You did something, post it up, share it out. This is where you're going to share it. And some of them are catching on really fast and figuring things out, and others are not tech savvy. They're just not. It's not what they're comfortable with, and they don't have the time to learn because they are still pumping out so much work. So I created Comics and More Chaos, and I set up in the announcement section. There is always 3 months out this month, and then 2 more going forward. In the announcement section, threads. So if you have a project going on in November, you drop in November link. If it goes through December, drop it in both. I will unpin those when it's passed, but they'll still stay in the group. Same thing with YouTube threads and social media links. Everyone kind of needs to help each other. We don't always know each other's pages or YouTube, or maybe we'll see something that we think is really cool and just want to share it to our followers, our contacts. So I made this group that was very simple. No politics, no drama, no religion, and because Facebook doesn't like nudity, no nudity. But that's it. Otherwise, if it goes within that world, share it in. Doesn't matter if it's your work, someone else's work. I like seeing the different names. I'm loving the different styles that I've been introduced to that I didn't know existed before. So that is kind of where this is going. I will be building up the store. I still have my Comics and More New Jersey exclusive prints from Jason Doobie, which I will get up on the store. I'm finishing up a little bit of loose tide, finalizing some loose ends. And it's getting there. And I see a lot of very cool things coming in the future. I admin for a couple pages to help them get a little promotion. There is a con coming up in New York. That is CreatorCon is having Suffolk Comic and Art Expo in December 6th in Long Island. And that is really cool. I'll drop in the event link after. Pending COVID, I mean, everything is set up as safe as it can be. It's from Philip Russert. He is a nurse, so he is familiar with exactly how to handle everything. So providing New York doesn't shut down the restrictions, I'm planning on being there. And I'm lucky enough to have photographers that I worked with in the lingerie world. I reached out to one of them, and he is excited and starting to do cosplay photo shoots. So I'll be sharing some of his work in, and hopefully I'll see him in New York next month.
Excellent.
So, it's been a lot of fun.
Noyobi, I am keeping tabs on the chat. I apologize, everyone, that I haven't been putting you guys on screen. But yes,
I'll take
I do
the blame
pay attention
for that
to.
I talk and I
Hey, Larry.
Shut up. Can't help it. I'm excited. We got to get this project out there, man. Get the story to people's hands.
Brain farts, yeah. I definitely live for brain farts. That's me on a daily basis.
So yeah, and
I have fiber fog. It's gone.
And I seen that comment too from Marseille about the we'll go mudding when we come to Florida. I will bring my Razor 1000 down there and we'll tear it up.
I want video. I want video and pictures, please.
Oh man, you should see some of the videos. Like, so my kids are 4 and 5 now. Sorry, Adriana just turned 4 in October, and so we got the Razor a few years ago, and I traded in my motorcycle and stuff because after we had kids, I didn't really ride the bike anymore, and so I was like, I've always wanted to go off road, and the kids always see people with 4-wheelers and stuff, and they get super excited. So I traded my motorcycle in and we got the Razor. And so, we go to St. Joe. It's an old lead mine out here in Park Hills because, we're in the lead belt here in Missouri. So there's a lot of old mines that are abandoned. And this is like 350 acres of tailings, which if you don't know what tailings is, it's the waste dirt from when they mine. They sift out all the lead. It's all the rock and dirt that they flood off of the ore. And so it's been there for several years. So they went in and they tested it and made sure, the lead levels and stuff were safe enough for people. And they turned it into an off-road park. And it is freaking awesome. I mean, you're talking sand dunes. Cool. And like when it rains, it gets these huge like lakes that form that you can ride through that are like 2 and 3 foot deep. So the first time we go there, it's the first thing I do. We do like 65 miles an hour right into this giant puddle. And I mean, when I got back with the kids, because I put a third seat in the middle, I got one of the bump seats. We get back with the kids, and I mean, they are totally drenched and covered like with an inch of mud, and they're just smiling from ear to ear. And she's like, my wife looks at me, she goes, "What did you do to them?" And I'm like, and they're like, "Daddy drove us through this huge puddle, and we're gonna do it again." And so that's all they talk about. They freaking love it. It's a blast. It really is a blast. And it sucks this year because we haven't been able to go because the park shut down for one thing, and the stuff that's been going on with me. So the kids are totally bummed. So yeah, heck yeah, we'll swing back by the house and pick it up, and we'll hit it up in Florida.
Yeah, definitely take videos. I saw Jack's comment. Yes, I am so ready for Tom Hutchinson's Lingerie World.
Yeah, can you believe
that is my world.
Like 2025 or something like that. I mean,
that's
he's
okay.
Crazy.
The post he put up a post today. I think it was today. Was Jay Valentine's one of their costumes, and I know the company very well. And Judy Valentine is the owner and designer, and she's actually on my contact list. So it was fun to see stuff that I know from my family business popping up.
Cool.
I'll have to keep my eye on that because that seems interesting. I'm all
for.
It's
gonna be so much fun.
I'm all for watching something that interesting. Like, do you know what it's like? Lingerie Wars, what it's pertaining to? Like,
it's Tom Hutchinson from Big Dog Inc. So we'll have to find out. I don't think he's going to tell us a whole lot until he's ready. So we'll have to follow him and.
They're just going to let all our minds just, like,
oh, yeah. He's going to tease for about 5 years, and do little teasers. Absolutely.
So
but I'll definitely check out Big Dog Inc. and follow him there, and we'll be watching for Lingerie Wars.
And so you just got to wait for it to get leaked to Wendy, and then just, like, get to chatting to Wendy and just drop a hint about it and just let her slip up on it,
I don't think Wendy's going to let her... I don't think Wendy's going to slip up.
Oh, I know. We just love to give her trouble because Tom's always like...
absolutely.
Don't say anything.
Don't you say anything.
Absolutely.
You're not allowed to answer any questions outside of this.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what happens.
Well, and that's exciting, too, because Wendy's got, the next Naughty Fairies Con coming up next year. That's going to be a blast.
And they just finished the playing cards.
Yep, they just Naughty
Carrie and
Steampunk.
Steph. and they are beautiful. I can't wait for mine to come. So what does he have to say?
Tom mentioned Lingerie Wars as a joke, and we kept talking about it until he gave in and said he would do it.
He said we had to hit a certain level with a Kickstarter, I believe. And then if something was done, then he would go for the Lingerie Wars, and sure enough, he's planning it now.
You don't challenge the internet with a Kickstarter.
Especially with lingerie. I mean, seriously. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. Beautiful pieces, sexy women, and comics, can't go wrong with it.
Hey, and you know what they say, when you strike oil, you go with it, So,
Exactly.
he struck a chord with people, so you might as well just run with it because everybody's expecting it.
Absolutely. He's got a whole lot of fans waiting to see what this is going to be.
Well, I'm excited to see this now. Do you know any of the models that are taking part in this?
Tom is not telling anything yet.
Oh.
We'll have to follow Big Dog Inc. They have a Facebook page. And take a look, and we'll find out soon. It's been fun to see the teasers from different artists and creators as I'm getting to know them and seeing the drops.
And you create lingerie yourself, or do you just...
No, I neither, actually. It's a funny story. So my parents were sales reps, and they sold lingerie, fetish, and toys. And I grew up in this world. I mean, I literally was raised going to the trade shows, working the showroom in New York, putting my dad's red line in order. I mean, this is a business I was raised in. And none of us kids wanted to be sales reps. He was really pissed. I had two siblings, and the three of us, not all of us said no, because I wanted a family, and my dad traveled 40-some weeks out of the year. And I said, I'm not doing that. As a guy, it's a little bit easier to leave your wife with the kids, but when you're nursing your baby, you can't do that. So, and I wasn't taking a baby to all these shows. In 99, when he retired from sales rep business, he actually had sold the business to my sister's now ex-husband. And so he kept the sales rep, but he started an online publication. And that was what I took over. So in 2004, I started working for him. And in 2005, I owned it. It's been on hiatus for a couple of years now, but I went to the trade shows. I covered the shows. I wrote articles, shared press releases, networked with the industry. So I became friends with the designers, with the distributors, with the models. And it's a fun world. We had a great time. Vegas and New York shows, from Curve New York to Lingerie Americas was one of the older ones in New York, to the International Lingerie Show in Vegas, which is where I knew most of the people growing up in. So I'd walk in and I'd go see people that I've known since I was a baby. So it was pretty cool. Weird, too. You're standing there with a half-naked model and somebody you had at your breakfast table as a family dinner. I mean, so it was definitely an interesting way to grow up. It put the business on hiatus for a few personal reasons and health issues that I had a couple years ago. And when things were calming down, I was not sure what I'm going to do with it. And then COVID hit. So I still have all the social media, but the publication itself is not active. But I have 36,000 subscribers on YouTube and over 11,000 on the Facebook page. And it's nice because I can cross-promote the cosplayers, the sexier styles, some of the sexier art. I can cross-post onto the lingerie because it's the sexy page. It's the fun,
Yeah.
So that is where my background in business comes in. I was raised in a family business, small business, and I learned social media as I went, and I'm fairly decent at it.
Excellent. So here's where the show derails.
Yep.
I'm sure
Jack is good at that. What is he saying?
Doesn't everybody? I thought that was normal. But yeah, no, I'm all for that. I'm sorry, brain. This is what happens when you wake up at 5 a.m.
No, thank you.
Well, for a second there, I thought you were saying you were all for the wheels.
Hey, I'm all for that too. Do whatever makes you feel good about yourself.
I can recommend some great designers. Justin Sane Leather is coming out with some awesome stuff. Who has he uses exotic skins to make all sorts of paddles and whips and crops and stuff. He's got some beautiful stuff.
You know, ever since I got into the fandom, especially here in Winnipeg, it's like I'm realizing the kink world and geekiness goes hand in hand. And,
it does.
And
be surprised.
It's normal.
It is.
So yeah, it's funny how you go in very innocent and then you come out just as wild and crazy as everybody else.
I can try and say I was innocent, but I'm not sure that was ever a thing.
So I gotta ask, Heather, so since you know so much about the designers and stuff, so when are we gonna get like a 50 Shades of Heather show where you're gonna do like reviews on riding crops and whips and feathers?
No, my fear of being on camera, I'm just dealing with this now. I have no problems talking about pretty much anything when it comes to sex toys or fetish or any of that stuff. I don't. I'm not shy about it. I was raised around it. I've had everything from my friends say, my 18-year-old daughter needs a vibrator, please talk to her because I can't, to I was in the hospital after my car accident and I was with some 90-year-old woman. And I swear I was not the one to start this conversation, but she started talking about BDSM and gays and kinky sex and toys and asking me 1,000 questions. And I'm like, for the record, it wasn't me. I answered all her questions. It doesn't faze me because I think it's really healthy. And honestly, as long as you're using it safely and you understand how to use and understand the kinks and understand the kink world, education is huge. And I think that, ask questions. I'm not shy. I'm terrified of being in front of a camera, believe it or not. But when it comes to that
you're
world,
it very well, by the way.
Yeah, I'm getting more comfortable. It's getting easier. You guys are right. My first time, I was terrified. But when it comes to lingerie, it's just something I'm familiar with. It's something I really understand and know.
To have Brian on my show again because some of the jobs that this guy has had rivals me and the amount of jobs that I've had in my life. But yeah, holy crap. Reformed adult bookstores.
Well, my parents used to sell to them. So you have to put this in a little perspective. My parents sold to the mom and pop stores, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York. And the little adult stores and the strip clubs and the dungeons. So there was a lot. Yeah, I didn't ask my parents. There are certain things you don't ask. Dinner table conversation was weird enough as growing up. 50 Shades. Yeah, 50 Shades isn't real. I'm just going to put that out there. Do your education. You will absolutely don't follow 50 Shades. It's great if it turns you into the lifestyle and you start asking questions, but it's fiction and it's so not the lifestyle.
Well, Brian's in for some fun because Nicole's at a pure romance party tonight, so
well, that's fun.
She's gonna come home with some interesting things. Brian's gonna be like, "What is this for?"
I'm sure she'll fill him in.
I need to
or he'll fill her
invite one of my friends who does the. I don't think it's the pure romance, but she is a vendor for that kind of stuff, and I've had a party with her a couple of years ago, and she's been bugging me to host another party. So maybe I'll to have it.
They're fun, but it's weird because I know the people who create some of the stuff and the ones who do the I can't think of the word. Now it's my turn to have the fiber fog. Private label. So whether it's the lingerie or the toys, I know a lot of people who do the private label and actually do the designers and distributors. So it's just, that was my home world for a really long time. I've only taken a break a couple years ago, and I still have all my contacts, and I still keep touch with the ones when I can. But their lives are busy too. We're all trying to figure out this new world without shows.
Yeah. The Black and Blue Ball is very popular in my city. I know several people who go there. They keep asking me to come with them, but yeah, I'm the most vanilla person you'll ever meet.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. There's a lot out there. But the fact that you know about it says a lot.
I know about it because it's something that comes up on a regular basis with the geek group that I hang out with, and so yeah, it's I've been curious for a while, but I'm a very vanilla person.
Well, you can always go and just have fun and not actually be that involved. Everything is limits. Everything is your comfort zone. So that's something you need to keep in mind. No matter where you go, you need to use your comfort zone. And if you're not comfortable, you leave. I mean, no one's ever going to say, oh, you can't go. You have to stay. It's the same warm welcome that you get with the comic world. I mean, if you're not comfortable with something, they're like, okay, we'll just keep scrolling. In the kink world, if you're not comfortable, it's not a problem. They don't push your limits. They're not supposed to. If they do, they don't belong there.
All right, so...
And we have really derailed.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Look at what you did, Jack.
Yeah, by the way, Willow, when are you going to start singing the Pirates of Jane? I'll look it up and I'll learn the words. Satisfier Pro. I'm guessing that's a toy.
Yeah, he commented a little bit ago and said that
I didn't see what it was.
They already have a collection going, and he said he highly recommends the Satisfier Pro. So I can only imagine, Nicole's going to come home with some new stuff, and he's going to be like, what the heck is that? Is that a lightsaber?
Well, I highly recommend the Lush, too. So if anyone's looking, it's definitely what you want to get.
It's funny, a couple of years ago at a social or a fundraiser, I tend to put my fundraising, like we'll do draws for prizes, and I tend to put my tickets in a lot of the random stuff. And one of the prizes that we were giving away at one of our socials, fundraiser for the Americans, was the adult prize pack.
Nice.
And I won it.
Of course. So you're not that vanilla.
So I ended up giving away all like the condoms and the lube and all that stuff because that stuff I don't really use, but no, it was kind of funny how it's like the whitest person, the shyest person got it. So my friend who is a DJ, he laughs about that all the time. He'll bring that up every so often. It's like, yep.
Hey, you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But it's not the first adult prize that I won either. And a sex shop in my city was giving away a prize for something, and I won. I know I won a toy, but I won this love pillow that inclines.
Mm-hmm.
My cat sleeps on it.
That's awesome.
So at least it's getting used.
There you go. Yeah, it's funny, but it's not like you can like leave it around and so now it's a cat bed. No one's gonna know the difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless they really know.
But no, I find it funny though how yeah, I used to be shy too. I spent the last few decades overcompensating for reserved early childhood. You know what? I lived out in the middle of nowhere for a lot of my life, and I also grew up in the Bible Belt of Manitoba, so I'm still trying to, unbrainwash my brain in so many ways.
See,
Brian, hang out with me for a while.
See, Brian says he used to be shy about it, but then you go to this week and he's talking about massaging Cookie's private groin area. I think Christian Bale.
Yeah. But yeah, that like again, the whole community has quite the dirty mind. So it's great to be around people who have the same kind of humor and isn't easily phased at all when it comes to that. Me and my husband, we enjoy sending each other memes or showing each other memes, and we kind of try to out perv each other.
Oh, I can send you a bunch. I don't get offended. I have a really good sense of humor, so I have a really large collection of funny and then really sick and twisted.
Yeah, like the one I seen about Bob the other day, I was cracking up. It was, I don't know if anybody else seen it, but it was like something that said, Bob has no arms, knock, knock, who's there? Well, it ain't fucking Bob, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know who posted that, but I'm strolling along and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
But yeah, he sends me almost every chance he gets. He'll go. He's a bus driver, so in the middle of him while he's on his breaks, he'll send me a meme that he saw on Facebook or something. It's just like, okay, now it's my job to try to find something to tease him with.
I have
we have dirty minds because we like to be adventurous compared to other people. Yeah. And Brian, sick and twisted, Heather, I'll send you my email later.
I'll just send them right to Messenger through you. You know, Messenger doesn't scan it too much. It takes too long to email. You can only attach so many.
Or we can just chat in the middle in Uncle Carl's group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't post a lot of these on Facebook.
Yeah, I can just see it now. This is going to be the start of Heather's monthly email. She's going to have you subscribe to it, and you're just going to get this cluster of freaking memes and sick and twisted stuff. So the first of the month, you're like, oh, man, we're almost through the year. Wait, what the heck is this?
I'll subscribe to that newsletter.
Yeah. So, come on, Heather, let's look it up. And you can go straight from newsletter to, like, Patreon or something. Come check out my memes.
OnlyFans for memes and sexy voice clips.
And sex toy reviews.
Mm-hmm.
There is a woman that I follow on YouTube whose job it is to basically review stuff that she bought and she sold pictures of her feet for a year, and she talks about all that. I'm amazed. Like, you can make a shit ton of money just selling pictures of your feet.
Or socks, used socks. Yeah.
Or underwear.
I've gotten some strange requests over the years. And I'm like, as tempting as that is, and that's a lot of money, I just can't do that. There's certain things I'm very open about, but that's a little much for me. But everybody's got kinks, and because they aren't something they can normally find, they'll pay for it.
So I know the story behind this, and I really don't want to go through it.
Dino porn.
Oh boy.
So yeah, there's porn for everything. I think I'm pretty sure that. What is it? The Rule 32 or something like that, where it's like there's porn for everything.
There's porn, there's kinks, there's somebody for everyone. There's always going to be someone who'll match up someone else's kink. It's just you got to find them, and you never know. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. It helps that I don't get offended. It's on the internet. You're not one of my close friends attacking me. It's a joke. I can scroll by it, or I can laugh, or whatever. But I think I send Russell a few once in a while. I'll get a couple. I have a few friends that I'll text back and forth some memes and see who's got the worst one and who can gross somebody out the most. That's always fun. I laugh at most things, which is not always a good thing.
That's definitely enough. Yeah.
I like Jack's comment. He said, "Quick, get it before they go extinct."
All right. So, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, and there's a place for everyone somewhere on the internet. And the bad thing is there's always trolls, and it's like you gotta look past them. It's like the other day I was in a video and I was talking about something, and somebody was talking crap to me, and I'm just like, whatever, man. That's the bad thing about the internet. There's so many people that get on there and try to knock you down. So it's great finding the groups and stuff with people like with Heather, and other people where you can just randomly send stuff and laugh about it and have a fun time, and I have to deal with the stupidity all the time.
Well, see, I play with the trolls. If they're gonna, volunteer, then I'm gonna play with them. But they don't bother me either.
Oh yeah, it's like the one I was posting the other day about when I sent you that guy that was like, "Have you heard about this fund?" And I was like, "Yeah, your mom told me about it." And he responded back, and he's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah. When I was at your mom's house, she told me all about it." And he's like, "I got $10,000." I was like, "Well, I got $50,000 from it, so you got screwed." And he's like, what did he say? He said something about I don't even remember what he said, but it was funny. It was a good time. I love messing with them all the time, especially when they're really early in the morning. Or the one that Jack was commenting on that I posted up about. Supposedly she lived a few hours from me towards Jeff City, and she's like, "I just got out of the shower. Are you ready for me to show you my sexy?" or something like that. and everybody was upset that the conversation ended there. He's like, "The conversation didn't really end there. You need to give us the rest of it." I was like, "No, she totally didn't show me your sexy because I blocked them before they freaking
before you have to explain to your wife, and I swear I didn't ask for these pictures."
Oh, she knows better because I always tell her about it. I'll be like, "Oh, this person's texting me," and she'll be like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm messing with them hardcore. Like I'll go all day with it." And because the funny thing is it amuses me at work when I'm standing around not doing anything. It gives me something to do, and I'm wasting their time that they could be stealing money from somebody else or doing whatever. It's like I know it's a scam, and they don't know that I know it's a scam, and I just have fun with it. I'm like, let's go.
I deal with interesting people all day. I had a guy today that got pissed because I told him I wasn't interested, and he went crazy, and it was kind of funny. I mean, he really, really raged, and I'm like, dude, not meeting you. And then it went from so beautiful to ripping me down. And I'm laughing. I'm going, wow, you're really upset. I'm like, I accept a lot of the ads because they're in the comic world. We have a lot of mutuals and that kind of stuff. So when he started like that, I'm like, dude, I accepted you because it was a business thing. I'm not looking for some random dude to, So it was just funny. But they always show up one way or another.
I got a lot of friend poachers, though. It's people try to add me just to see my friends list, and I was like, I really don't like when people do that.
I keep my friends list locked down, so it's only to me unless it's mutuals, because I've had issues with that in the past.
Yeah, I had to do it too because somebody added me. That was the one that the person was like, "Show me your sexy." Like literally, like I had like 100 and something mutual friends, and they lived in Missouri, and the account had been active for a while because it's one of the things I always look at. When was their first post? Like if it was like 3 days ago, I know it's not legit. So this one had some background to it and everything, and so I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's somebody that is friends with them and they're interested in the book because I've been doing it on the show. I was like, I don't want to be ignorant, so I add them, and I was like, I'll hold back a little bit. And then, like, the next thing like, they're sending friend requests to everybody. And so I freaking, that's why I blocked them and I put it up on there with the conversation. I'm like, if you get a friend request from this person, they were stealing all the names off my friends list and just adding everybody. Do not add them.
Yeah. Well, I had to do that yesterday. I blocked one person because she was just going off on adding people. And I'm just like, no, I do not do that. That's not what I'm here for. If you want to promote your stuff, I'm all for it, but don't go around poaching my friends.
I get that.
I like this. Is that a hockey hat you're wearing? No. If you watch Firefly, you will get the reference.
Oh, where's Steph at? Where's Steph at? With the Firefly jokes.
But yeah, so let's try to go back up on track here. Favorite superhero? What is your guys' favorite superhero?
I like the Punisher. You know what? I'm not afraid to admit it. I love the Punisher. I always have. A lot of people hate the Punisher, and I don't understand why. Everybody was like, oh, the Punisher is one of the worst series. Don't ever buy the books because they're worthless and they're never going to be worth anything because it's just a horrible series. The original Punisher stuff was really good. Yes, anything newer out of the big two has just been recycled garbage for the most part. I mean, there are a few good stories here and there, but, they do 15, 20 issues, and they go back to a number one, and then they come up with these crazy story arcs and just start pulling stuff out of their butt, and they're like, we're just going to keep throwing these books out there because people buy them. So I agree that, they flood the market with bad books. But the idea behind the Punisher and the story, how his family gets killed and, he comes back and he goes after them and goes after the bad guys. And I was like, that's a really cool book. I've always loved it. I like the movies too. Like the second movie that they did, my favorite part is when he shoots the grenade and the guy's doing parkour on the building. He does the backflip and it hits him in midair and blows him up. I was cracking up. I think I rewound it the first time we watched it like 15 times, and I just laughed hysterically. Because here's this guy doing parkour, and he just launches a grenade out of a grenade launcher and blows him up in midair. The acting was terrible in it, and it didn't really have a great story, but I still watched it, and I thought it was pretty good. So, that and Vampirella. So, Vampirella is not really a superhero, but, Vampirella is my favorite. That's the major collection that I've been working on the last couple of years is for that. So, I finally got the Vengeance of Vampirella #1. Blue Foil was one of my big Grail books I wanted to get. And then, of course, #1, I got that one. So I was up until all this stuff happened at the beginning of the year and missing all the work. And, now everybody's like, where are you in the comic auctions and, on New Comic Day? And it's like, dude, I'm making a book, Jesse Witchman, we were talking about that the other day. He's like, it sucks not being, he brought it up. I didn't say anything. He's like, yeah, I don't really see you around. He's like, and I get it, I was like, dude, you don't understand. Like, people totally don't understand, like, how you disappear off the map. It's like, I don't have the money for that stuff. I'm buying art. Mm-hmm. I'm paying for editing. I'm, trying to promote this book because I'm passionate about it and I want to get it in people's hands. I was like, you have no idea. I've been trying to find Vampirella #4, the Warren. It's one of the ones in the early release that I'm missing. #4 is hard to find in a good grade. Like, literally, if you find a raw one, they're garbage. They got holes in them. The spine's destroyed on it. The color's faded. Like, no joke. Like, 2 or 3 months ago, there was one that went up. It was graded a #4 in an 8.5, and it sold for $68. I almost died. I was like, because I'm like, I really don't have the money, maybe I'll get the money in a couple of weeks. And like, literally it sold like an hour after it was posted. And I was like, no, I've been looking for that forever. So, that's the thing. And so I've quit collecting for the most part. I mean, I picked up a few Kickstarters here and there, when I can afford them, trying to throw down support. And that's what's been hard too, is having all these people on and talking about their projects, and their projects are so awesome. And I feel bad because people are like, well, you feel like their projects, why aren't you back? And it's like, dude, I don't have the money. I got 2 kids. I'm the only one working. I missed 2 months of work this year. I got all these medical bills, and I'm making a book. I'm like, I'm showing my support by sharing these people's stuff and by introducing you guys to it because I do love what they do. And I hope, when things settle down and next year rolls around and 2021's here and everybody's got a fresh start and we kick the virus in the ass and we've got a freaking vaccine for it and people can do cons again and, things pick back up and everybody's doing good and I'm selling books, then I can go back and buy the issues of the stuff that I missed because that's the great thing about comics. Just because they're not on Kickstarter anymore doesn't mean they don't exist. They do second and third prints or they do an overrun and they sell them in their stores. So, those are my 2 big favorites. I like the Punisher and Vampirella. So sorry,
Okay.
I didn't mean to derail again.
But by all means, talk. Heather, who was your who is?
Well, keep in mind, the comics. I still have to start reading. As soon as I get the business organized, then I can sit down and start reading. So, John Wick is honestly, I think that's amazing. I think it's awesome. I'm in love with Lady Death's art. I am absolutely in love with all the art from Lady Death.
Yes.
So that is something I am looking forward to learning more about and Coffin Comics and reading. It's on my wish list. I have a couple here. I have to see what I have and start reading them, but I am just amazed with her. Absolutely in love with her. So I am looking forward to that. So those are the two. One is for kicking ass, and the other one is just stunning. I mean, absolutely amazing looking. So, what about yours?
I'm a huge X-Men fan, so Beast will always be one of my favorite characters. Beast and Rogue. I don't know. It's funny how, and I was talking to a tattoo artist about this a while back, was for me, Beast is like my therapist in my head, But he's for everybody. Like he's like that for everyone, I'm sure. But whenever he's drawn, he's always drawn feral, and I'm not a huge fan of his feral look. I like his, smart, glasses on, quirky self. And I don't think that the artists seem to portray that right. So I have an image in my head that I want tattooed eventually, is him in an armchair reading a book, Animal Farm, fuzzy bunny slippers, glasses on, and
I love it.
And I'm trying to find the right artist for it, and I think I found him. His name's Aram, and he even said, like, the first thing that popped out was, he needs to have like the smart look to him, and I'm just yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to work on that for sure. But I don't know, just X-Men has always been the comic book and cartoon for me. So I don't want him hanging out upside down. No, there was an image that I saw that inspired me to get a picture done from one of my friends. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, dang phones. But he's sitting in, that's her version, or their version of Beast. And then but there was an image that I found online that it depicted him in this armchair reading a book, and I'm just like, that's the tattoo that I want.
Yeah, and see, I had kind of the same thing. So I found I had a friend that did this werewolf drawing, and I saved it in my phone, and it was freaking awesome. And I know what you mean. You carry this idea with you. I had it since 2009. I think it was like right around when the first iPhone came out, because I put it on my phone. Well, then I got the new iPhone, and then I went to the new one. So it went all the way up into, I think I had the 6 Plus or the 8 Plus, and I finally found the artist that looked at it and was like, that's awesome. What do you want to do with it? And I'm like, this is what I want to do, and I want to do the background. So I got a complete sleeve on my right leg, on the lower calf, all the way around of the werewolf, and then, this awesome, a village burning, and then there's bats. And so then at the same time, I got another tattoo here of Vampirella, because I did Chris McJunkin, one of the artists that did the piece for Xenonanite Titan. He did a commission for me. He does really good symbiote art. Anything Venomized you get him to do, it turns out phenomenal. He does a great job with it. So I was like, I've never seen a Venomized Vampirella, and it is freaking amazing the way it turned out. It is absolutely gorgeous. I almost want to go down and get it so I can show it off. And
you're gonna have to start posting pictures.
Oh yeah, I will for sure. I can go get it. I know exactly where it is. All my stuff's cataloged.
Or just post it after, and we'll take a look and share it out.
So it's freaking awesome. So here's the cool part though. So he sends it over, and it's just got like regular bats flying around Vampirella, and I'm like, no, dude, like let's do venomized bats too. He's like, yeah, I can do that, I think. And so he sent me back this screenshot of one of the bats with the symbiote, and I'm like, dude, that is phenomenal. So I asked him, I was like, I want to get this Vampirella tattoo. I'm like, do you care if I use your art and show the artist and have him do? So on my Vampirella tattoo right here, the very top bat is one of his Venomized symbiote bats. It is freaking awesome. I loved it so much I had it tattooed on me. So
very nice.
Oh, that's cool.
But and you're talking about X-Men characters. Everybody can guess who my favorite X-Men is, probably by the fact that it's Russ Explode Studios. Gambit. Gambit's been my dude since day one. Like, this guy can turn playing cards into hand grenades. Like, that's the shit right there. I want to load stuff with kinetic energy and be able to blow it up. That would be awesome. So I always love Gambit. And he never gets the role that he deserves. When they did the X-Men, the Wolverine movie with Gambit in it.
Yeah.
And then they were talking about, we're going to do a Gambit movie, and then they're not. And then they're going to do it, and then they're not. And then they're going to do a show, and then they're not. And then now, we're going to do a movie again. It's like, I don't think we're ever going to get it, but I still love him. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Gambit for a while was one of my favorites, and then I don't know, just something about Beast just kept sticking in my head, and so I've always geared towards more like the geekier type characters too. Donatello from Ninja Turtles is my favorite character. So, yeah.
We know you like Professor Xavier because Xavier never has to wear pants. Get out of here, Brad. So I seen Brian saying show and tell. So you want me to go get the Vampirella, or are you talking about you want to see the symbiote tattoo? You gotta
either or.
Either one.
Whichever one you're more comfortable with.
Well, see, I don't care. I'll show it off.
Okay. Here, let's bring you up on the big screen here. Oh, that's cool.
Well, maybe if I can figure out which way the camera's got to go. This is freaking impossible. All right, so the camera's there. So the Venomized one is the one that's on the top right.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, that's neat.
So yeah, I was super excited because I was like, it was the first thing I thought of when I seen it. I'm like, if I ever get a Vampirella tattoo, and then so that's what my wife got me for Father's Day last year. Is she was like, you've been wanting to get this Vampirella tattoo because there's a story behind the werewolf tattoo. So I went and got all the line work done. I'm like, hey, I want to sit down and I want to do this werewolf, and I want to do all the scenery and yada yada yada, and I'm like, I want to do all the line work in one sitting and then come back and get the color. And they're looking at me like, dude, this is gonna be like 12, 13 hours. I'm like, so? And they're like, oh, we'll have to split it up in sessions. I'm like, no, I'm down for it. Like, let's sit down and let's do it. And so they're like, all right, well, I'll book you for the whole day, and we're gonna charge you for it whether you can finish it or not. Like, I almost fell asleep during the tattoo. Like, they were blown away. They're like, all right, well, we're getting to the part. This is really gonna hurt. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So they just went away. So I got all of the line work done in one day.
Wow.
And I'm supposed to go back like a month later after it heals. 4 weeks later, I have a appointment. So this was 2 years ago, around this time, and they quit. And so everybody knows that if you get a tattoo by somebody and it doesn't get finished by somebody, that most tattoo artists won't touch it. And I was totally bummed because here I am. I carried this around with me for freaking 10 years. I carried this with me and I wanted to get it, and then they freaking quit. So I was just like totally I had the color on the werewolf, but the town and all the scenery and stuff that they had added didn't get done. So I was super bummed. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. And so I'm trying to message this person, seeing if they go to a different tattoo shop or whatever. And luckily she came back last year in like April, and all of a sudden I seen the post on Facebook, I'm back at the tattoo shop. I'm like, book me right now before you quit again. So that's when my wife was like, well, you wanted to get this Vampirella tattoo. You know, if you're going in and getting the color on that done, why don't you see if they'll do the Vampirella tattoo? So I ended up getting both in the same day. And it was really funny. They were live on the comic book show, and they're like, you're not getting a Vampirella tattoo? So I'm like taking pictures of it while I'm getting it done and sending it to them while they're live.
Nice.
But yeah, that was the worst feeling ever, man. You carry something with you for that long, and you go in to go get it done, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're sorry, that person quit. Because I talked to like 3 or 4 artists, and they're like, yeah, man, you know, we don't like to touch other people's work. You know, I don't really know where they were going with it, and you're gonna have a hard time finding somebody. So
I've heard that a lot, that they do that.
Yeah,
I don't have any tattoos yet. How many do you have?
I have none.
You have none, so this will be your first one when you get it?
Yeah.
Nice. I have one that I want to get. I just I need time to do it and create it.
It's because it took me forever to figure out what I wanted as a tattoo, because my brain keeps changing, and because I love art so much, and a lot of times I spend a lot of time in Artist Alley when it comes to Comic-Con, and it's like, okay, I'm trying to think whose art do I want to buy today, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when it comes to tattoos, it's like my brain's always changing its mind of what I want, and knowing that it's a forever thing, I don't want just anything.
Something that means to you.
Yeah, the Beast is definitely one of the things that I want to get. Rogue as a pinup style pinup is another. But I have a couple friends who are tattoo artists, and they're all wanting to be the first one to tattoo me. So I'm just like,
virgin skin.
Yeah, virgin skin. That's what I was getting ready to say.
Well, that's me. I don't have any yet, and I want to get one. So when I'm done designing it, then I need to still finish putting together, but I know what I want. And then actually go and get one, which is a little something new. I never thought I'd get a tattoo.
See, I totally relate to Brian, too. So Brian said 2 years ago, he said Nicole has 5 tattoos, and she wants to get a sleeve, and I think she wants a supernatural tattoo. Totally can relate to that, because my wife loves supernatural, and so I totally get that, man.
She got a Star Wars tattoo 2 years ago at a con.
Nice.
That is cool. I take part in the pinup pageant in my city, and it's done at a tattoo show. I definitely would love to just randomly walk up to one of the tables and be like, tattoo me, but I don't know. I really don't know if I want like an apple, just like a random apple or something like that. I don't know. I may get that later, but we'll see.
So this is the first one that I went and got, just to see if I could handle it. And it's the Greek symbol pi and the Greek symbol rho, pyro.
Okay. Oh, neat.
And so I graduated from that, and then I ended up getting a full sleeve on this side, and I got one all the way across my back. So I have 8, hopefully going to be 9, because if we hit the $10,000 stretch goal, for a lot of people that enjoyed the Wendy and Christina show, everybody's been talking about Wendy and Christina 2.0. So I was like, I got with Wendy. I asked her, I was like, what do you think? If we hit 9,000, that's the signing goal. I'm like, at 10,000, we're just going to have a crazy show and do a 2.0 live from your house or wherever, and then like, or, you know, at Christina's shop, and get a Xenonanite Titan tattoo on my other leg. Because I have a tattoo on the outside of my leg, but I want to get, you know, Xenonanite Titan on the inside. I was like, how awesome would that if we all 3 get together and we do Wendy, Christina, and Russell 2.0 live from the tattoo shop? And, nice. You know, so we're just cracking up, because the whole time during the show, everybody's trying to get Wendy to drop the F-bomb. That's all anybody cares about. Like, I tried to convince Wendy that, you know, at $11,000 that she had to do the F-bomb live during the broadcast. And she's like, I won't do that. She's like, but what I will do is I'll really creepily just go, just go with it. I was like, whatever, you know. So, but yeah, you know, we had a great time. She kept cracking up, talking about how Christina, you know, she starts digging in and making it hurt. So we came up with the nickname The Butcher. So that's what I put. If we had $10,000, I'll get a tattoo of Xenonanite Titan live from The Butcher with Wendy and Christina. And so I thought it would be a fun show. That's what Jack was talking about a little bit back about the joke being. But, you know, I thought it would be something fun because, you know, a lot of the people that have backed it, almost everybody that's backed it so far has been people that follow my show and that, you know the story, and, you know, that most of them either have gotten snippets or, you know, have read the book, and, you know, and I really appreciate their support. And so I wanted to do something fun that they would enjoy and that they would get a kick out of. And it'll be forever on YouTube for them to go back and laugh at. You know, like when I posted the screenshots of Chuck Penow drinking his spicy beer for a backer. I still got to go back and watch the show where he snorted the hot sauce, though. But
I still have to see that one too.
Yeah, I missed it. Like, I watched the first part of the show, and somehow I got off there because something was going on. I think one of the kids woke up and needed to go potty or something. And I come back and everybody's laughing, and Chuck looks like he's about ready to die. And then the next day I found out he snorted hot sauce. I was like, how did I miss that? And I got to go back and watch it.
Bad timing.
But that was what was really funny. So I guess nobody like in their right mind. So we were talking about the tattoo thing still, and is when we did the show with Chuck and Sean for Belial 2, the first show we did, because not the second one, the first one. The second one was the one that got crazy. But the first one of the members of the audience was like, I'm not backing the project. If I'm going to back the project, I want to see some skin. So, of course, Sean and Chuck, they got their shirts off, and Lewis is in the comments going, well, you know, it's not really fair for you. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I took my shirt off, and everybody was like, like, it was a huge shock that I had tattoos. I'm like, why is that such a big shock to you guys? Like, am I not crazy enough to you for that, or what?
That's funny.
Brian has a question. Russell, would you do the show Hot Ones?
I don't know.
It's where they eat spicy hot wings, and usually like the most insane like spice is the insane spicy ones. He invites celebrities on his show. I couldn't do it. I have a really bad acid reflux where it makes me sick, and no, I could never do that.
I have an ulcer. That's not happening. I can't do spicy.
As it was, I had Wendy's chili the other day, and I tried eating the leftovers, and it was starting to bother me. That's how sensitive of a stomach I have. I'm a suck.
Yeah, I'm mild. Definitely mild only.
Yeah. I was doing stuff as.
All right, so you're talking about what if I would do the hot one. So this is something that I use on a regular basis.
Oh, wow.
It's got jalapeno, ghost, arbol, and habanero.
Can't do it.
So look, I love spicy food. So like when I laugh and talk about the spicy stuff, like when I used to work over the road, here's a good example. So I used to work over the road. I never had ghost chili before, and I always wanted to try it. And so I was staying up in Washington, Illinois at a hotel, and there was this hole-in-the-wall bar attached to the hotel. And I was out of drive time on the truck, and I'm like, man, you know, I guess I'll go check out this hole-in-the-wall bar, and hopefully, you know, they have food. Well, it was like 9:45 at night, and they're like getting ready to close the kitchen. So I'm hurrying up and looking through the book, and there it is right there. It's ghost chili wings. And I'm like, hell yeah. I was like, I want 2 orders of these, and I want, you know, an order of the habanero wings. And they're like looking at me like I'm insane. And I'm like, you know, what's the big deal? They bring out these ghost chili wings, and they were freaking phenomenal. I loved them. And these people just thought I was the most insane person ever. But let me tell you, them ghost peppers, like your whole body starts to glow. Like you feel like a heating element after you like touch your face, and you're like, man, I feel like I'm vibrating. But the flavor is phenomenal. If you go to a place that does ghost pepper the right way, the flavor is phenomenal.
Okay. I have hot flashes normally. I don't need that.
Well, and see that
The joys of being older.
Anytime we go anywhere, I try something like that. So when we went to Iowa back when Roderick was really little, he loved trains. So we went to Boone, Iowa. It's the Boone Scenic Railroad. They have a train that runs through there. And do you remember what the name of that restaurant was called? The Brick Hat? No. It's the Brick something. Brickyard, something like that. It's kind of a chain. It's a chain, but it's not a chain. They have one store and then they open another one. But they had this hot burger, and it had fried jalapenos on it. It had habanero cheese. It had mango habanero sauce, and then it had habanero ghost pepper cheese on it too. And I was like, I seen that in the menu. I was like, hell yeah, I want one of these. And these people are like, are you sure? I was like, yeah. I was like, what, is it a contest or something? I'm like, I don't care. Bring it out here. And it was freaking phenomenal. I love mango habanero or mango ghost chili. That is so good. So, yeah, I've never heard of hot ones, but yeah, Russell said vibrating drink. So yeah, heck yeah, I do the hot ones. That sounds like my kind of cup of tea right there. I freaking love hot stuff. So yeah, and if you guys want to try some good stuff, here's an Indy company, Flatiron Pepper Company. You can find them on Facebook. It's phenomenal. This is the level 3. The green chili one that's got the green lid is level 1. Level 2 is the black lid. I think it's I don't know. I got all of them. And now they have a Carolina Reaper one.
Oh no!
And
I just hurts my stomach hearing about them.
my wife almost buys it for me every time, but it's like, so these are not too bad. They're like $7 or $8. These are the best pepper flakes you'll ever get. Like, you'll never buy red pepper flakes from Walmart or wherever again. These are phenomenal. These are really hot, so if you don't like spicy stuff, don't get the red lid. The black is really good. It's got a smoky, it's got ancho green chili in it and stuff. It's got a real smoky flavor to it. And then the green lid one's really good for like if you just like pepperoncinis and stuff like that. It's about the spice of that. But I think they're like $8 a canister. And if you get the 3-pack, it's like, I think it's $19. You get the red, the green, and the black. But the freaking Carolina Reaper one's like $25 or $30. And my wife doesn't want to pull the trigger on it because she doesn't know if I'm going to eat it or not. I mean, this was last year when they came out with it. I don't know if they still have it or not. But it's like, I think, melt your face off. Yeah, it's called Melt Your Face Off. And I'm like, yeah, so you just look up Flatiron Pepper Company and go look at the Melt Your Face Off. If you guys want to have a competition, you guys want me to freaking try it live, order it and send it to me. I don't care. I will do it. I'll take on any hot food challenge. You guys want to see a hot food challenge? Let's do it.
You seem like someone who would appreciate a good chili. Now, where I live, Manitoba, we put chili on pretty much everything. I actually just had pierogies and chili, so that seems to be really good if you don't have sour cream. But one of the things that we're known for is putting chili on hamburgers. Now, is that common in where you guys are from as well, or
it's not common?
They have that at restaurants.
They do.
It's normally available. They normally have a burger that has it on there. It's not something I would eat, but yes.
Yeah, it's not.
I know a lot of people who eat it.
Every place has either. It's like some of the burger places or like the more higher end restaurants don't really carry that kind of stuff. But if you go to like some of the bar and grills or like that's something that's not a chain restaurant like Applebee's and that they don't carry stuff like that. But just like the mom and pop restaurants and stuff do offer the chili burgers or chili mac and stuff like that.
Yeah. And if they have the chili and they have the burger, you can always ask and they'll put it on there. Most places are pretty good with
or
that.
If you're me, you just ask for ranch with everything because
I'm a blue cheese girl. I love my blue cheese dressing.
Oh, blue cheese is good too. I love blue cheese. Good
blue cheese.
And my wife turns her nose up anytime you talk about blue cheese. Mm-hmm. She's like, "Ew, get that out of here."
And my kid's addicted. That's all he wants on his salad, blue cheese dressing.
Oh, it is not disgusting.
The Heroes for a Cause.
Oh yeah.
Russell, did you want to talk about that?
Yes, thank you. Heroes for a Cause, yes.
I can drop the link in after.
Send them to me, Jack. I'm down with it, man. Send it. Send it. He said, you're going to be a bunch of those sent to you now, Russell. Sorry, I got derailed by the comment. So, yeah, Heroes for a Cause. So yesterday on Philip Russard's show on the Creator Con, he had on Heroes for a Cause, and everybody heard me talk about comic books for kids earlier, CB4K. So as soon as I tuned in, I heard what these guys were doing. I was all in on it. It's an awesome project. So they try to spotlight kids that have different types of illnesses. So they did, one of the first books was for cystic fibrosis. And I'm trying for the life of me to remember the name because it's been a heck of a day. It's something
you can find all the information right on their website.
Yeah, you can find all the information right on their website. They have a new one out too, and I just said what it was like an hour ago when we were chatting, and I already forgot the name of it too.
But they're really great people, and it's a really good. It's a really
everything
really
goes
good
to the
cause.
charity. So they did like I think they did 3,000 prints of the standard print. You can buy the PD. So if you go to their website, we'll have to drop the link in. My computer just.
I can drop it once I'm back on a computer.
Okay,
I can drop it afterwards.
You can drop it in there.
It's www.heroes, spelled out FOR, a cause, I think. I know I dropped it on Philip Russard's video earlier today, and I have it right on my profile as public. I shared it, their Facebook page. But definitely you can do donations. You can buy stuff that helps them raise money. And then they also have the comics. And thought it was a really good cause to share and push a little bit.
And they have more stuff on there too. So they're like the very first book that they did, they have a fleece throw on there. They got flip flops. They got a neck gaiter, which is, if you don't know what those are, it's the mask that people wear around their neck that they can pull up over their face. They got different stuff that you can buy on there. All of the money that they make off of these books goes towards these causes to help kids that have cystic fibrosis. I don't remember what the second illness was that they were working on. I'm trying to pull it up right now. I'll have it here in a second. But it's definitely awesome. So that's going to be one of the books that I review on Blue Balls Reviews when it comes up again. Is where we ordered a copy of The Gasp, and which is the very first book. And I'm going to get it and review it, and we'll show it off on here. It comes in PDF for $2, standard book for $5, a foil book for $10, and then the holofoil book, I believe, is $20. Or you can go. They also have a donation page that you can just go on to, and you can donate the. Pulling it up right now. That you can donate.
Russell's going to do the review, and it'll run both on his site and it'll run on Comics and More, New Jersey, and my YouTube also. So I'm excited about that.
Yep, we're going to show it off in all its glory.
I like seeing these causes come through. I like seeing everybody help each other in an artistic way. I'm a huge supporter of charities, whether I can't financially support them, because let's face it, money's really tight, single mom, but I can share, and I have a good reach, so I try to use my connections and my shares.
Well, and see, the thing is, it's like they were talking last night. They do this, the Heroes for Kids, and it kind of puts them in debt doing it. They don't make anything. They're donating their time, their work, their materials, and everything they make off of it goes straight to these charities and straight to the kids. And it's like that is, it takes a good person to do the stuff like that, and it's really awesome to see people taking the initiative, especially now. I mean, kids that get sick or that have these illnesses with COVID, they don't allow the parents in. That was our biggest fear back in, a month ago when Roderick went in to go have his heart checked out. First of all, his cardiologist moved to LA, so we got told we don't have a cardiologist anymore. And so then we went in with this new cardiologist, and there's only one parent allowed to go in. So I had to sit out in the truck and FaceTime my wife with the doctor. But it's like, now is the time that these kids need the help from CB4K and Heroes for Kids and people to be there for them, because the parents can't be there for the kids. If your kid has COVID or your kid has cystic fibrosis or has an open heart surgery, you can't be there for your child. And it's really hard on the kids. It's really hard on the parents. And so, now is the time to really back these charities that help kids, in these situations in hospitals, because they need something to fill in that gap of their parents not being there.
Agreed. it's got to be terrifying being that kid. So having something to distract them for a little while is amazing.
And we're in a world where children are spending more time in hospitals and all that, and when it comes to comic books, and superheroes, children are always looking for characters that fit their lives and who they can relate to. That's why the X-Men are very important in my life, is because it actually brought me characters that I relate to. And Spider-Man is another character that a lot of kids relate to. Russell, what character is there a superhero that your child relates to?
My child loves Spider-Man, absolutely adores Spider-Man, and so that's just another thing that's really cool about the comic community that I'll Heroes for Causes. Here we go. I got the website. I love the indie community. I love the comic book community and the people in it. So Radar Riley, one of my good friends that I met online through Hooked on Comics and out of Pennsylvania, he heard the story about Roderick, and about that he was going in for another procedure and stuff. And so he asked me what kind of comic books that Roderick liked, and he sent him some Power Ranger and some Spider-Man comic books to help him feel better. And so did John and Mary and them. But it really helped out. So last year, Roderick had a... Give me just a second. I'm copying this in here once I find the tab that we're on. So last year, our original cardiologist, Dr. Bruns, one we had for 5 years, that's kept our son alive, for almost 5 years, moved to Tennessee. So we were pretty devastated. We're like, man, what are we going to do now? Well, before Roderick, one of our hospitals was 25 miles away from the hospital that he has surgery at. So he's seen the cardiologist here, and he had open heart surgeries here, and so on and so forth. Well, we decided that we were going to facilitate things a little and make it a little easier by going with a cardiologist at Cardinal Glennon. Well, Roderick was devastated. You know how toddlers are. They like things to be the same and consistent. They hate change. You change one thing in the routine, and you're going to have the worst week of your life. If you get up at 8:15 instead of 8:14, it's the end of the freaking world. Well, imagine that for a kid. You've been seeing a doctor before you even born. We knew about his heart condition in December. He was born in March. So, this doctor from day one covered Roderick. Roderick got comfortable with him. So we went with Dr. Rahimi, and he was absolutely devastated. I have pictures. I'll send them to you and show you the look on his face. It was you literally looked like it was the end of the world for him. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what to do for Roderick. Well, Radar has a Spider-Man costume, and he goes to hospitals and cheers kids up and, visits them in their hospital rooms. And he had told me about it before. And I'm like, Roderick really loves Spider-Man. Maybe Radar will do this for me. So I messaged him. I'm like, hey, man, would you mind FaceTiming me on Messenger and talking to Roderick and pretending you're Spider-Man, that Dr. Rahimi, he's worked on you before or whatever. And, he's like, absolutely, man. You let me know when and we'll set it up. So we did. He got in full Spider-Man suit. He dressed up. He called Roderick, and he's like, oh, yeah, man, I know Dr. Rahimi. He's like, he's patched me up a few times when I've been in your neighborhood. And Roderick was just blown away by that. And so that's the kind of stuff that the comic community does for each other. Yeah. People that you've never met in your entire life, and they go out of the way, and they're like, hey, I'm going to do this for you, and I love that. It's really awesome to know people like that. So, so Spider-Man's always been his favorite. And so the first cast he got when he broke his arm earlier this year, that was another disaster. So they sprayed Lysol on the floor. And Roderick, I was downstairs. I was in bed. I was hurting. Well, I heard it sounded like the kids were outside my window. So I went and I looked out, and the kids weren't out there. I'm like, what in the world? So I go, we have a 2-story house. It's a split level when you come in the entryway. And so I go up to the entryway, and I check the door, because if the door's unlocked, my wife's outside with the kids. Because she heard none of her pants. What the hell is the deal with women's pants not having pockets? but that she never has her keys on her, so she always leaves the door unlocked. Well, the door was locked, so I'm in my mind, I'm like, great, the kids got their window open, they're gonna fall out the window because their bedroom's on the second story, and so I go into the room, and they're hanging out the window, yelling at the neighbors across the street. Well, Roderick's got the look of death on his face, and he goes to run at me, and I went to stop him, and I turned, and I set my foot down right in the Lysol they sprayed on the floor. Well, I wasn't bad. I wear contacts, so I'm blind as a bat without them because I'm nearsighted, and so I didn't see it. And I stepped in that. I went down. I had a hold of his arm, and I pulled him down with me. And he says that my leg landed on top of his arm. And so I snapped his arm right here on both sides. And I felt horrible about it because I was like, great, now he's going to hate me because, but he was really good about it. He comes home and he's got a red cast on his arm. And the first thing out of his mouth is, Daddy, I know it was an accident. I'm not mad at you. And so it broke my heart. But he goes, will you draw Spider-Man on my cast for me?
Aww.
So I drew Spider-Man on his cast. Well, most of the time when they cut your cast off, they cut it right here, right? I've never seen them cut it anywhere else. I drew Spider-Man up here. Do you know where they cut it at? Right down the middle of Spider-Man. So when we went 4 weeks later, of course, no, I couldn't go in. It had to be one parent and all that stuff. So she takes him in there, and he comes out. I mean, just the waterworks are flowing. I'm looking at my wife like, what's going on? And she's just shaking her head. She's like, I'll tell you in a minute, like hand signaling at me, just drop it, whatever. Well, he gets in the truck and he's got the cast with him. And he's just bawling his eyes out. Daddy, they cut your Spider-Man. And I was like, oh. So I ended up having to draw him a Spider-Man picture. Well, he had a green cast this time and he wanted me to draw the Hulk. So I just drew Spider-Man and the Hulk. So we got that out of the way right away.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, no, he loves Spider-Man. I'm sorry, I don't mean to go off on tangents.
Oh, no worries. While you're searching up that link, I'm gonna show off. I'm gonna play that video for your Kickstarter.
Oh, cool.
I swear I know what I'm doing.
I'm still learning StreamYard. It'll be a while before I know how to do all that stuff.
I so look forward to. I look forward to picking up a copy. Can't wait. I will I will try my best to back your thing here. I asked my husband if I can back a Kickstarter a while back, and it was for Earthworm Jim 2. And my husband was like, "Well, we have bills to pay, so I apologize. I will definitely pick up a copy when it comes out, though."
No, I understand.
Well, for now, we share. That's
right. I love the video. So I did a couple of videos. I did a video for the spin-off comics for them and for Scorpiana and for Luis Torres and Codex Entertainment LLC for Lily the Demoness Chapter 4 and for Naughty Fairies, Stripper Assassins number 4. Everything was a number 4 except for Jimmy Noble. His was like a number 2 or a 3 or something like that. But you know, that was one of the things I was like, you know, I'm gonna put one together for mine. And so it was really crazy. I don't know. It was emotional watching that video come to life, and it's just like, you know, something that I dreamt up 10 years ago, and it's like where it's come along the way. And watching that video, it almost, you know, makes me tear up just watching how epic, you know, something so small 10 years ago. I was like, this is just a whisper, and it's like now it's this awesome thing, and it's a creation. It's something we've brought to life, and all of us had a part in it, and it just looked so phenomenal. And it was so cool building the video too, because I started it like 4 or 5 months ago, and it only started out with a few pieces, and then as each artist did a piece, I added their piece and their picture, and it grew throughout the year. So people watched as, you know, it went from baby steps to, you know, a fully grown project, and it's like the end result of that video is just, it's phenomenal. I love the way that it turned out, and it's almost cinematic.
It came
And
out
I
great.
popped that
And
link in there too, so I don't know if it came up.
when I first met you, you were still planning and working on getting everything together. And it's been awesome seeing it actually come together and launch and doing so well on Kickstarter.
I'm excited for you. Like, this is great.
Same.
I love helping people out like this, and so here's the Heroes for Causes website.
Oh, cool.
It's I look forward to helping you guys out more. Thank you all. Thank you for being on my show, by the way. I appreciate this, and I'm gonna try to end the show.
We've been on for a while. And thank you for having us.
Oh, no problem. Russell, tell us where we can find you on the interweb.
So I'm Russell Allen with Russ Explode Studios. You can find me at Russ Explode Studios Books with Heart on Facebook. That's my business page. And then you can also find me at www.xenonanitetitan.com. Got the awesome project right now on Kickstarter. It's a 10-year labor of love. It's an awesome story, phenomenal characters, and it's going to be a character that you can feel and that you can empathize with, and it is an awesome story. I'm not just saying that. Brian K. Morris has said that. Wendy Steenshainer has said that. My editor was blown away by it. It's got a lot of heart behind it. Please back it. Please make this dream become a reality. I guarantee you guys won't be sorry. I cannot wait for you to read the story. I cannot wait to see you at cons and be able to talk about it. That's what this is all about, is sharing the story with you guys and watching it grow together. So I look forward to that, and I hope that we're going to make this happen.
Absolutely. We're going to help you. Heather, tell us where we can find you.
I am Heather Ellen on Facebook. You can find me at Comics, the letter N, More NJ is my Facebook page, or in the group, Comics, again, the letter N, More Chaos. And, you know, invite your friends, share in any project you're working on in the group, promote yourselves and promote everybody else. It's a fun group to check out a lot of stuff.
And you have a weekly show as well that you do on Facebook?
I will be live on Sunday night, 10 o'clock. I have Joshua coming on with me. He is a creator, games, comics, collector. It should be a fun show. I started going live a little while ago, but I go live every Sunday night at 10 p.m. And in January, I will have a section on Reels and Heels to go over some Kickstarters and indie stuff. So we'll drop in some links after chat. Awesome.
All right, and you can find me pretty much everywhere on social media. I am the social butterfly. I am here on Facebook. You can find my show on Skylar Productions on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. You can even find me on Twitch at 63Beast. There's my nod to my favorite character. I pretty much am everywhere, and so make sure that you guys tune in tomorrow. Reels and Heels live at 2 p.m. 2:15. We're going to be talking about the 30 years of The Undertaker. So make sure you guys tune into that. You guys have a great night. Thank you for joining us.
Make sure you ask Nicole how the Pure Romance party went tonight.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right on camera.
Right on camera.
I'll ask her what she bought.
And I was going to say, too, real quick, you can find me Sundays at 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern. Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern. I got a show Sunday with Space Oddities, and then I have a show Tuesday with Ascendant number 4. It has back issues available, and I'm happy to announce that after Philip Russard's show last night, I booked a show with Heroes for Causes next Sunday. I will have them on, so I'm hoping to have the book before then. If not, no big deal, but I will have them on my show. So we will be talking about them and their stuff. So everybody that missed the show, that hasn't or doesn't get a chance to go watch Phillips, I will have them on next Sunday. So there'll be more to come on that.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you again, and have a great night. Thank you.
You too. Have a great night.
End. Why don't you end? By my flower, by my pretty flower bonnet, I will end you. I hope that's the quote.